it's lost in translation. And here we have AI translating for us and capturing, the dialects that are being lost, etc. So I was just really moved by yesterday's episode, and I sat back and just listening. And I want to give each and every person who contributed, who submitted their handiwork, um, a round of applause. And that's not, speaking platitudes or anything like that. It takes a lot of courage to put your your hat in the proverbial ring. um, but it's more than that. It's you saying, here's my proof of human. And there's something very beautiful about that. And I just want to commend each and every person that did that today. Because ultimately, we talk about AI out in the wild, but it's always tethered to a human, that some human pushing the button, doing the thing, putting their little spin on it and edit on it. And it's something that I think is very cool, because in noticing the AI out in the wild, you have to also notice the human. And I think you're all wonderful, wonderful humans. Your stories are fantastic. Just to be very clear, I haven't gone through all of them yet. I know I'm a judge, but I really want to make sure I give 100% of my attention, to each story, because they are very cool. Very cool. I did put up top something that I thought was interesting. Many of you might know Christopher Nolan. One of my favorite movies is Inception. And it's something that I wanted to talk about just briefly. The reason why Inception is such a cool movie is how many layers and complexities it has built into it that are so insanely human. And the idea of the plausible lie, the minute that you create something, um, that kind of jars your senses as a human, it kicks you out of the dream. It kicks you out of the world. It kicks you awake. And all of a sudden, you know, you can't get back into that flow state. And with AI, the trick is to remain in the dream, to not get kicked out, to not be woken up, to be totally immersed in the environment. And it feels so natural. And that, I think, is something that I've been paying attention to in watching your content. Um, am I immersed in the environment? Does it feel like human? Even though it was augmented by AI, your prompts make it human. That's It's like, Pinocchio. You make it the real boy, you know, and I think that's kind of cool. So I just wanted to put it up there to kind of give you the insight of a movie maker. I know many of you are very much like this person, very much like Christopher Nolan, and you have the ability to do great things and be noticed for your great things. So I did want to put that out there. Amanda, I did see that you had called. I apologize. I could not answer it. I was preparing for today. Um, so I can talk to you in a little bit. Other than that, I did post some of the previous posts from Tech in Schools and Pixio for our guests that may not know what the heck we're doing. There are going to be people that are listening in during the course of today that did not know that there was an AI film festival going on, which is a shame. But I think we're going to have more of these, because it was very, the feedback thus far. Now we'll know more after winners and everybody are announced and such, but the feedback coming back is, can we do more of this? And I think partially one of the reasons the boys chose to do this is because people do like working side by side with one another. They also like to learn new things and experiment with one another, and also have the ability to get some free credits, because it is very expensive. I know that a lot of people are really, really struggling. And so, having, the sweeten of the pot, the bribery, the little carrot on the end of the stick to get you to come to class and learn some new stuff, I think is also something that's very, very special. And I just wanted to thank all of the behind the scenes kind of sponsors that donate, to Tech in Schools and the nonprofit organization. Granted, all of us as subscribers, we do help. But ultimately, it's a nonprofit, right? So we want to just thank the people that go behind the scenes and just write a check and give us the opportunity to have opportunities like this, experiences like this. I know for me personally, I wouldn't be able to afford a lot of this stuff. So, um, you know, it is one of those things that I think about, and I have such gratitude and thanksgiving, you know, for the people that are so generous with their time and their tools, their energies, and of course their money too. So, I wanted to give that up. I We don't say thank you enough, and um, you know, big organizations, they're all having to do audits and things like that. And so sometimes education is the low man on the totem pole. We get the last, we get the breadcrumbs, right? And For school kids, having access to what you had access to this week, um, is a game changer for them. I'll use the Artemis mission as an example. There was a little boy named Hilt, and you know he was being interviewed, and he dropped the F bomb on national television, and it was glorious. It was freaking glorious. And he's like, "We're going back to the effing moon." And all of a sudden, people came out of the woodwork because they saw excitement, his exuberance. And he spent the whole day yesterday at the Kennedy Space Center. He's there for the moment, right? um, because people look at an excited kid and they think to themselves, you know what? The kids are okay. The future is bright. We got this. And I feel in a lot of ways, listening to some of the kids from TSI that have made some incredible things, their excitement is so freaking contagious. And so, in our own small way, sitting here and building side by side with them, we're not only giving them the tools, we're validating their stories. We're validating their existence and excitement because we see it and we elevate it. And there's something very powerful about that. That's, a gift multiplied. So, it's something I've been thinking about. I don't talk about it very often, but Nick, Alisher, and Ross are very special people. What they do is very special. This whole entire film festival was kind of off the cuff because they had spring break. Most people don't realize what they do every day. They have to drive a long way into the city. They work side by side with kids and teachers. And, you know, to kind of pull something like this together is difficult in and itself because you're reallocating resources, you're trying to learn new skills and tools, also to make them accessible to you. And like Ludwig had mentioned earlier in the week, to stay on top of these kinds of tools is like drinking from a fire hose. It's so fast moving, and you cannot possibly keep updated on everything, but you do have to pivot. You do have to at least dip your toe in to the fire hose every so often to make sure that you're getting access to the newest tools and tech in schools. And my AI tutor, Pixio, AI mastery, they're constantly updating. And that's something that I think is really amazing, is that you yourself don't have to be, I don't want to say responsible, because I definitely believe that we're all accountable for our own education and experience, but it's that they do it for you so that you already have the best of the best at your fingertips and the ability to use them. Maybe not to the fullest capacity that you'd like to, but at least you can taste the buffet and decide what you're going to want to invest in and spend the money on, etc. So at any rate, I just appreciate them. I It's an honor to be their friend, and it's an honor to be on the board. Honestly, it's just one of those things that from the cheap seats, it's fun to watch. So hopefully I have stayed as impartial as I can in being in the periphery over the past week, so that I can look at all of your handiwork with fresh eyes. You are all my friends too. So there's an inherent conflict of interest. I will tell you, I want you to all win. And so, looking at your handiwork without any names or anything else, stripped of all that, and just looking at it honestly through the merit of the work and the prompts that were needed to get to where your final project is something that it can be tough sometimes. But I will tell you, um, all of the judges do the same thing, because we do want to make sure that um, you know we're as impartial as we as humans can be, you know. AI can judge you, and it will. AI is going to judge, you know, all of us, in a very sterile and algorithmic way. But when you're talking about storytelling and movie making and, you know, the kinds of content that is supposed to relate to humans, you need a human to judge it. So at any rate, it's been a great honor to see everything that you've done. And I hope that each of you feel enriched and seen and accomplished. You know, this is a big achievement. Just like with the hackathon, anytime you park your butt in the chair and say, I'm going to be committed for an X period amount of time and be diligent to show up for yourself, that's something to be commended. So I'm going to test Alisher and Nick's mics to make sure that everything's okay. And I'm handing it off to them because this is their day. And they're going to talk a little bit about all of the submissions, how many submissions we had, so you kind of can judge your odds. They're in your favor. You know, I can just tell you the odds are in your favor. And then hopefully we'll have some kind of a stream so that everybody can see things. And have the ability to kind of cross pollinate and notice each other's handiwork. Now, I want to invite people that did submit. Um, we know that everybody can't show up to a noon o'clock recording on a Saturday. Um, when you put it in the nest, people can't see it after the show. But if you put it in the purple bubble, they can. So if you have handiwork that you'd like to share with your tribe, your people here on this space, you are welcome to put it in the purple bubble. And if you want to describe your process a little bit or your why, all the better, so that other people know a little bit about your project and maybe um, a little bit about what you learned, why you made it, etc. Not just for the tokens, but definitely give them insight into who you are, because you don't know who's watching, you don't know who's listening, and you certainly don't know who's stalking these posts, etc. after the fact. And as Ludwig was a prime example of, he just showed up. That man showed up to Heather Cooper's spaces. um, he never missed a single space. And, you know, that kind of showing up and being consistent gets you in front of the eyeballs of the people that are making the decisions. And look how it opened up incredible doors for him. AI was not his superpower, right? We all learned that from his talk as well. But to be able to be tapped for an AI series of movies, etc., on Amazon with a contingent of other people that were all cherry picked from Twitter, from X, you know, that's incredible to think about. None of these people out in the real world under a legacy system would have been chosen. None of them had backgrounds in movie making. None of them had, you know, design credentials. None of them had all of the traditional things we would think that a movie maker like a Christopher Nolan up top would have. And yet they were chosen. They were chosen because they chose to dig deep, learn new skills, become fluid in the emerging technology, and use their, you know, extemporaneous kinds of skills, you know, things that Ludwig was a science type person, chemistry, I think, if I'm remembering right. Heather Cooper, she was in the military. She's got nursing backgrounds and things like that. Nothing to do with what we would consider movie making. However, you want a crime scene that looks legit? You want a body that's going to look legit? Or you want, you know, the chemistry or the science or the exactness of an engineer to be legit in those promptings? Then you're going to want to people or have people that have skills that are outside of what we would traditionally expect from a movie maker. And these people did. They did it in spades, and, you know, have a very successful series, season one and season two. You know, that means it was well received. You know, it was a moneymaker for them. So, of course, they're going to do it again. And he was able to change directions, give up his career, and start a new one. And I just think it's very, very cool. One other thing, too, by the way, because I had something in the DMs after Friday. I'm too old to learn new technologies. Did you know that all four of the astronauts on the Artemis mission, the youngest is 49 years old? You start your second wind at 50, folks. So, you can learn new skills. You can, you know, enjoy the dream that you had. My own mother actually started medical school after she was 50. Every single one of her professors said, "Why are you sitting in that seat?" Every single one of them. This is a waste of your time. You're not even going to be a practicing, doctor until you're over 60. And you know what her her response was? Because I can. Because I can. What powerful words. Because you can be anything you want, and I believe it. And I think AI can fill those gaps for the shortcomings that we have in our skill set. So at any rate, I hope that each and every one of you go on to greatness. I'm proud of you. It's a true privilege to see each and every one of your faces in this crowd today, and to call you pocket family, because you're doers. You're doers, you're dreamers, you're makers, you're inventors, you're creators, and you're just good humans. So I really thank you for that. So, Alisher, I'm going to hand it off to you. And you're going to test Nick and Ross, I'm assuming, behind the tech in schools. The rest of today belongs to you.
Hey everyone. Yeah, we're all here. We're just pretty much talking about a lot of the different you know, um, projects that were submitted, and we got a lot. So we're really happy to see that a lot of people did understand the assignment. Sadly, some people, I guess, got confused along the way, but it's totally.
I will say one thing though, after reviewing them all, like it's not that some of them are bad. There's just a strict. You have to follow guidelines,
Yeah.
and if it looked visually stunning but it told zero story, it just can't get put in the finalists. So we did appreciate all of your submissions. We were super excited. It was really fun to watch. All of you are super creative. But yeah, if you don't get placed or don't win, don't let that dim your fire. There's always another one. These contests are designed in a way that like you have to pick people, and it's kind of the worst part about it. But it is what it is. But really great job.
And I think, there was a lot of different requirements for the submissions to be considered for the prizes that we're going to be talking about later on. Specifically, one, it has to be using the Pixio tool. Two, it has to be at least over a minute and a half, 2 minutes, to for it to be really considered a story that can actually be told, because you can't really tell a story in 30 seconds, people. Um, another thing is it has to fit in one category, not a mixture of categories. So there was just a lot, I guess, of confusion on some of the requirements, but overall, we did find our favorites that did follow all the guidelines, and we're actually showing them right now on the stream, so you can take a look. We are going to be playing each one. Um, and additionally, we do have a little bit of a surprise showcase that Ross.
Oh yeah, you guys. I couldn't even last one day without doing something with you guys. So I made something called the Mummy's Curse,
and
which we'll watch.
Cinematic. This is our cinematic filmmaking example that we chose, and yes, Ross.
Oh wait, one cool thing. Guess what, Nick?
What?
This whole video was made with C Dance VIP.
Ooh. Yes, it is one of the newer CDance models that we added. It's super powerful. The only unfortunate thing is that it's like a lot of credits per generation, and it can take at least like 10 minutes plus. So, but they come out amazing. So it's definitely worth the wait. Now, should I show that one first, Ross, or did you post that on X?
It's still building.
It's still building? Okay, great. So we'll show it, I guess, at the very end.
Yeah.
For now, though, I would like you guys to go to the stream, and also, if you can't, no worries. I will play the audio here on my mic. And additionally, you can go to the Pixio showcase and you can find the find one of the videos that has the Pixio logo next to it for the AI Pixio AI Film Festival, and you can pretty much click that, and then you can see the entire category of all the submissions that we chose um, that were the best. Now, I hope you guys had fun throughout the week. I know we did. I think we had too much fun because we were every day just making something new, and I think we had that creative fire burning, and I think we hope that everyone as well found either something new that they learned or a whole new passion for creating with AI videos. That's also one aspect as well that I wanted the requirements to have that consistency of, if you are going to make one of these AI films, you should predominantly use AI for it. I think that's also one important thing that we saw as well, that why we couldn't add that to the list of the top five, because we had to kind of judge and assess each video, and then additionally give that to the judges. Sarah, did you did you have your expectations blown through the roof, or uh, were you at feeling like, because I know we were pumping out every single day a new video, and we were pretty much not just showing the different workflows in our workshops, but there was just a lot of generations happening, and I think um, that kind of gave us a little bit of a bar, a high bar to high standard to kind of get through.
You know, this is an interesting question. Um, and I'm picking my words carefully. It's weird because um, I've been on numerous film sets, right? So I am tainted by legacy system. I will just say it outright. And so my bar in my head, especially for storytelling, is high because that's my profession. My profession is as a ghostwriter to make sure that you stay in those immersive environments and stories, and whether it's fiction or whatever genre. And so when I'm looking at the submissions now, you go through them one just kind of on the surface, but like you said too, it's very difficult if you have impressive graphics, because I think this is the hardest part. So please take this with love, everybody. We live in a world where everybody can have flawless, graphics, right? They can make things look polished. They can make things blinky lights and really feel kind of interesting. It's very difficult to create the storyline that can connect to humans, because more and more humanity is like tuning out the soft, or the soft or hard sell, right? You have to have something that you can tether your humanity to. And so some of the things that I was watching, they had jarring pieces to it. Now, I'm not asking for perfection, of course. Sometimes you'll have a glitch, or sometimes the spelling is not correct, or whatever else. But anytime those kinds of flaws show up in the visual, instantly, and that's my little snap in the background, instantly your human brain clicks on and is immediately looking at, I must solve that problem. That's a misspelled word. And the whole vibe is gone. The whole vibe is lost. Um, excuse me. I am kind of stealing this from my husband, and I know it's kind of a crass thought, but one of the things that he mentioned last night was that, when we're talking about AI created or generated content, he's like, Sarah, it's like it's like a woman asking a man during foreplay for a grocery list or something that needs to be done around the house. The moment is lost. You know, And I thought that was such a great analogy because it's very true. It's very human. He was being very human. This is a person that doesn't, use AI daily, isn't immersed into the environment. And when he's looking at special effects or he's looking at, movies or storytelling or a graphic of some sort, um, he's not asking whether it's AI generated or human generated. That's not it. It doesn't entertain me. Does it make me feel something? You know, is it distracting? Those are the kinds of things that I was asking. So, but um I still have to go through and really dig deep a little bit into the content of everything. But one of the things that I thought was so cool about the course of this week. Now, granted, we had the pregame, and then we also had the whole week, and I participated, I think, in one or two spaces as a speaker. But I was, hiding in the lurking in the background. One of the things that I thought was so cool is how many people actually, I mean, one raccoon, love it. Some of the stuff that came out, I could not stop laughing. And it was such an unprofessional thing too, because they're just dumb humor that you can't stop laughing in the background. And I love that. I think that that is actually part of the fun. The reels of AI are so entertaining. Um, but one of the things that really struck me is how many people came up and they had in their head, I have a story I need to tell. The universe has been poking inside their brain or their gray matter, and they really have a passion about something. you know um I don't know, I'll use Rangi as a foil, just because I know she's in the audience and she wouldn't mind. She lives and breathes in a universe, a cosplay universe, in a immersive gaming world, kind of group of people. And when you're creating content for that kind of people, you have them in mind, you know and when you're creating these kinds of films or these kinds of experiences, you have such a love. And that's the best way to put it. I'm not saying, like, in love. Many people think, well, love is love, right? No, there's lots of different kinds of love. This is an agape love. This is an unconditional love. It's a love that says, I want to serve you. I want to make you happy. I want to bring you joy. And when you're a part of an immersive community like that, the kinds of things that you create, you have like little Easter eggs in there. You have little ways of talking to them. You have insider jokes, and you populate your works with that, not because you have to. It's because you can, because you love them. Her Templar universe is something that's very special to her. It has a warrior code. So if she's creating content for that community, it's going to have and imbibe all of the things that
these models to, whether it's C dance, and also you didn't even have to necessarily use C dance. You could have used any other models. Like Ross showed you guys, for example, how you can make an entire music video just using WAN 2.7.
15 seconds at a time and do the whole
Yep.
3 minutes.
So it's when I think about it, if I was
what I like about that, Nick, that was a mistake. That was me just like hitting the buttons and seeing what happened.
And that's why you have to have that like curiosity and explore the different models. But if I was in your shoes and I was gunning for 50,000 credits, in my mind that's like, okay, $600 worth of generations with these different AI models. I would like work every single day to try to get to that point. But maybe because I have that like competitive nature, but or that just like that affordability. When someone tells me that, I'm like willing to work that extra mile, or walk that extra mile. But I think this outside of the competitiveness, when you have that opportunity to create and share a story, right? I think it's something that is extremely fun, and you can like how Whitney, I think she just posted recently about like how it inspired her to do her other videos, and even like want to do like an AI studio, or even Ludovic, where he has a background in chemistry, in like chemical engineering, and then to kind of shift his entire career to do kind of like AI studio and work with all these companies. And I did speak with him recently, and he just says there are big things coming. So I'm just really excited to see what he what the next journey he's embarking on. So I just wanted to give you guys, my 2 cents on that as well. And in the meantime, what I could do, Sarah, if you have anything you want to add, you could do that now. If not, I would love to showcase our first submission that we have over here. Okay, and I will leave my mic on so you can hear it. This one, oh my God, I'm definitely gonna mispronounce this. Here, Ross, you can mispronounce this.
Oh no, I can't mispronounce. Just ask Whitney.
You can follow that grenade.
Well, Whitney, if you want to come up, this is your opportunity. Okay, I want to take a crack at it though. I think it's pronounced Jueni. Jueni. Now, I probably am saying it wrong, but if you would like, you can either come now and tell us a little bit about it before we play it, or we can talk about it once it's done. What do you prefer?
Ish, thank you so much for this opportunity to share the work. The title of this film is called Joanne,
Joanne.
it translates to Bad Little Girl, which was a nickname that I used to have as a little girl from my aunties and my grandma.
Were you a troublemaker?
You'll have to watch and find out.
All right, so I'm gonna be playing this. If you guys do want to follow along on the Jumbotron, we did share the stream, so you can follow it there. And I'm gonna play it now. So give me 1 second.
Wasaiwune?
I hate it here. Can't wait to go home.
This has always been our home. Long ago, there was a girl your age who lived in this forest with her grandmother. She had to work hard and take care of the old woman. One night, this girl gets an idea to play a mean trick on her grandmother.
There you go, guys.
You know what? I will say one thing. When you submitted it, you submitted a second time with the ending, right? And we didn't see the ending, and I think the ending really, really makes it, really rounds it out.
I'm like, your poor grandmother. I did not expect that turn. But I love it. Really good job, Whitney.
Thank you so much. I was really, really nervous to share this. It was a story that my grandma used to tell me when I was a little girl, and they were always really scary stories. You know, they were really intense, but I felt like they were precautionary tales, you know, and to me, this story was just about, you know, respecting your elders and, you know, not getting frustrated, and this idea that this little girl even manifests these thoughts, you know, like starts daydreaming and thinking, geez, my life would be so much easier if I was all alone and I didn't have to look after this old lady. But you know, her thoughts are heard by the forest, and it actually manifests into reality. And at the end,